unjustly not had a job, but based on all the things that have led us to this point, it leaves me a little skeptical of the motivations behind it. But I think, like anybody, we're just kind of all waiting to see.
What kind of thoughts did you have when it just sort of came out of the blue that the NFL had arranged this?
You always ask the question of just like, why now? What's the difference? There's been plenty of quarterbacks hurt this year and opportunities for teams to bring them in for a workout individually. So to have like a league organized workout was obviously raised a lot of questions. But like I said, hopefully they're coming with the full intention of signing them to a team and truly evaluating them based on football. And but time will tell.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Last game, I think there were some times where you were able to have 4 corners on the field. And when you have the health of your secondary now and the looks that gives you, and Patriots have to prepare for something like that when they see that. What does that give you as a defense?
Well, for us, the biggest thing, or last week at least, just gave us the opportunity to play man-to-man, match guys up, and really give our D-line an opportunity to rush the passer. So you take away those quick throws because you got guys that are tight in coverage. And it's a different look. We've been really a zone team, but mainly because of injuries. And so to get those guys back, it gives us a little bit more flexibility to really challenge people.
Malcolm, Jim Schwartz said that he went back and watched the film from Super Bowl 52. I know it's been a while, but were you able to watch it this week? And is there anything that you can take when you look at that, maybe some of the matchups that are still there?
A lot of the plays that we saw in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, we saw in their last game against the Ravens. So, their philosophy is very much the same. Obviously, a little bit different personnel and flavor without Gronk and some of those things, but they still want to, win with Edelman in the slot. They wide out of the backfield. They do a good job of spreading the ball around, getting them good looks, tempo changing. It's their program. They do a good job with it.
You've been in this league obviously a long time, and you've played, I think, every snap since you've been here. When you look at Tom to go his age, he's still doing it at a high level. Are you amazed?
Yeah, I think on our scout report, they always have players' names and the years they've been in the league, and I think he said 20 next to it, and it blew my mind to see that. You about it, but like to really think about how long he's been in the league and been playing at the level he's playing, it's very impressive.
Is he still playing at a really high level, in your opinion? When you look at him, has there been any drop off at all?
Yeah, they're if you look at their record, he's a part of that. Their defense is playing out of this world, but he's still one of the top quarterbacks in this league.
When you look at what you guys have been able to do as a defense the last couple of games, the health of the secondary, getting Tim Jernigan back on the defensive line, does it feel like you're really able to come together at this time as a defense?
Well, I think we're getting better each week. I wouldn't say we've arrived or that we're where we want to be, but I think getting healthier and adding those pieces back definitely improves us. And week to week, we've been getting better, and we want to see that transition to this week.
Take a couple more, and I have to get into something that's pre-scheduled.
To John's point, when you're going back to that bye week and able to self-evaluate, what are you taking from the secondary that you still want to see improve?
I just want to see us improve, in every aspect, whether it's challenging people at the line of scrimmage in our mans. Really situational awareness is probably the biggest thing. We held the big play. I think we had one last game we played, which is at the end of the grand scheme of things not bad. But I think we want to make people earn it. We kind of gave them that one. So as long as people are earning things, if they do make plays and we're continuing to challenge at the line of scrimmage, I think we'll be getting better.
When you're going against speaking of health, Fletcher Cox is running in form. How important is that for the defense?
It's been huge. Him and Brandon Graham, really kind of taking over up front. It's been, one of the main reasons I think we've been able to perform the way we have over the last couple games. We're going to need them, just as much this week.
How much does it help having that same mindset that you don't worry about what's going on around you, that you just focus on your business, and if you get the call, great. If not, you just persevere and move on?
It helps out a lot, man. I don't have any extra clutter on my mind. Just stay focused on my job and just make sure I'm prepared whenever my name is called. That's all I can control.
How do you keep the mental focus and just, thinking like, okay, you're going to get that shot and that chance here eventually, just got to be patient?
Just having a good support system, good family behind me, just talking to them, good, great teammates, and man, just praying and staying ready, man. That's it. I can't worry about anything that I can't control. So I think that's just how I keep my poise.
What did the one game that you got to have this season, what did that taste give you?
Man, it felt like I was supposed to be out there. To me, it felt like I was supposed to be out there. It was a great feeling. It's always a great feeling whenever you get to touch the field, no matter if it's a practice field or the game field. You always feel like that you're supposed to be out there. You got to have that mindset, and that's what I went into that game with. And if my name is called, I'm going to be ready.
Did that draw even more emotion out of you moving forward, that you've had that taste of it, that you know what it's like to be out there on a game day, to say, all right, the hard work has gotten me to this point, now there's another level that you want to get to?
Oh yeah, for sure. With me, I'm always gonna stay hungry. I'm always gonna think I can reach another level with whatever I'm doing. So, just gonna continue to work hard and stay focused.
Pretty good tackling secondary against a team like this. How important is that?
Yeah,
I mean, it's important against everybody. But.
No, I get the question. Yeah. We're going to get tested in every possible way. Run game, pass game, alignment, motion, shift, tempo, all that stuff. I mean, they make you have to be on everything. So no matter what the situation is, no matter what personnel groups on the field, base, whatever, whether it's a run or a pass, you got to show up. They're going to make you tackle,
right.
And they'll make certain people tackle if they want to, and all that other stuff. So, yeah, it'll be a premium to be good at that.
Why hasn't Sidney Jones become a starting level corner this far into his career?
Well, I would say this far into his career, first of all, he's been injured for almost half of it.
Yeah.
So he hasn't been out there that much. And then, just like any young player, they're still working. And I don't think anybody, I know for a fact, nobody has given up on him. And right now, his role, where we are with everybody coming back, his role is a backup, and that's what it is. So he obviously happened to be inactive last week. You can't dress everybody. So you go from one extreme, having a bunch of guys hurt and needing everybody, and then doing whatever you can to field a secondary, to now everybody's back. So when you count the numbers, someone's got to go down. And I mean, I don't got to tell you, special teams plays a role in that, and then so it goes back and forth. And then, well, obviously every game make a decision on what best suits us and what we need. And it happened to be him last week, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens going forward.
Sorry, it seemed like he had such a good training camp, though, that I know he did get hurt earlier. Was it frustrating to not see that carry over to the regulars?
Yeah, I mean, I would say this. Anytime a guy's having success and then it ends up not showing up, then yeah, I mean, as a coach, heck yeah. I mean, it's like, I mean, that's my job, is to get him ready to play. With that being said, the guy has never blinked. We have never blinked. He works just as hard, if not harder now, than he did before, and we'll see what's going forward. I mean, he'd be out there on Sunday, but we don't know that yet. But I'm really proud of the kid for dealing with that situation, and he knows how. I mean, these guys all know how it works. You get 53 guys on the roster, you only get 46 on game day, and if you're not one of them, you're not one of them. And the next week could change. So he's doing a good job. I'm really proud of him. He's handling it, and he's working super hard right now, and then we'll see where it goes going forward. I mean, it's week by week.
I'm sorry.
See? Yeah.
With Sendejo gone, if you had a safety go down, would it be Avonte Maddox stepping in there, or the new guy from Minnesota? Is he far enough along to bring in?
And I'll tell you on Sunday.
Yeah.
Speaking of Maddox, how did he look coming back 2 weeks ago?
It's been good. Yeah. I mean, you guys saw the tape. You watched the games. It wasn't perfect, but, I mean, super competitive. He can play inside. He can play outside. Obviously, he's played back in the back. He's played in the back last year for us, and he can play everywhere he wants. So it's great to have him back, same as the other two guys. So it's been good.
I suspect he'll spend quite a bit of time with Edelman on Sunday. I mean, you feel good about that matchup? As
Yeah.
as you can.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, just like everything else they do, I mean, he could be on him. He couldn't. Guy lines up everywhere. So whoever's on him is going to have to be on their deal. They're going to have to play with great technique and play tough and do all that other stuff. So whoever's on him is going to have to cover him. See how that goes.
In a more general sense, Avonte's versatility doesn't make you guys feel a little more comfortable with the numbers being less at safety. You know, you only have
Yeah, I would say this, with Rudy back there and then with Epps coming in, I mean, we've got plenty of able bodies. You know, the thing with Epps, as you know, he's only been here for 5 days, but really impressed with the way he's worked in just this week to get caught up to speed. And then Rudy's been here for a while, so he knows the defense. And then we'll decide on Sunday, on game day, how it's going to shake out. We'll see what happens.
It's been a few games now since Jalen's been back in the lineup. What has he brought to the defense? Yeah,
I would say the first thing he's brought is just his personality and his passion that he plays the game with. You miss that from him, I think that has a lot to do with his success in his young career. So just having that out there is good. And again, he'd be the first to tell you he hasn't played without any flaws, but he's out there fighting, and I like where he's trending. It'll take him a couple games here to get back into the groove, and this will be a good one for it. So it's coming.
Success you guys are having running the ball lately, it makes it tough for a team to actually want to be willing to put nickel out there.
Yeah, like in the past, I think we've seen a lot of nickel, but I don't think we were running the ball as much. Right now, I think we're fairly balanced, so it's a tough decision.
So when you guys have the bye week, you do the self-scout, all that, you're playing a lot of Tiger. Do you look at other teams and see the success they're having to try to see some of the things that are trending?
I think you always, just part of, you're always looking for, little nuances, maybe something we haven't done, or maybe they're doing the same thing but just slightly different. I think that you do that. I do that every week. If I get 20 minutes, I'll go pull up, somebody else and just see, how did they get him open, or what the deal is, and maybe it's something that we can use as well.
You expect to see some similarities coverage-wise from what you saw from Patricia and the Lions Sunday when you play these guys?
Yeah, maybe. Obviously come from the same tree, both. And we saw the Lions or Matt Patricia when we played him a couple years ago. So I'd imagine we'll see something. But the toughest thing about facing the Coach Belichick team is he always does something different. And he's going to have his game plan, and we're going to have to try to adjust accordingly.
Marcus Epps said that there was a lot of interest in him from you guys, before the draft.
Yeah, we looked at Marcus coming out of Wyoming, and he did a lot of good things in college. And he hasn't played a lot of NFL ball. I think he's got 12 snaps this year, so we'll get a feel for him as things go.
I think he said he was on the phone with you when the Vikings drafted him. Like, do you remember that? Do you remember that happening?
Yeah, it was kind of like getting a feel for what he was doing and how he was doing, and I like the things he did on film. So, like I said, we'll see what it is. Obviously, the college game's a little different than the NFL game, but I like the kid. I like his attitude, and the things I've seen. I like the things he does.
Do you want to claim Avante as a safety?
I would claim him every day of the week, every year. But that's not. I mean, if it was just, hey, I'm a safeties coach and I want the best of both worlds, yes. But he does a lot of good things other places too, and the fact that he can move around and play nickel, play corner, play safety, it's really makes things easy on us having him back there.
With no Sendejo, it seems like the dime will probably be that 4 cornerback time. What does that give you flexibility-wise?
With Avante, you mean?
Well, yeah, and just having 4 corners out there as opposed to
you saw a little bit of that last week, and it's kind of fun to watch because all those guys are competitive guys and they like to match up, and it gives us a lot of flexibility to play man-to-man, and all those guys have played inside also, so we can play our zone coverage stuff with it also. So it's kind of a fun package to work with, and those guys do a nice job.
What makes Jalen well suited to be the other inside
Well, Jalen's
guy?
played inside a little bit.
Yeah.
He's done that before. He's got the quickness. He's got the knowledge. He's a real smart player. So it's not like guys can set him up a whole bunch because he sees it happen before it actually happens.
Tim, almost since the time he arrived and got on the field, people have looked at Rasul Douglas and said he looks more like a safety. Why is he a corner?
Well, you can look at a guy and say, he's look at me. You know, what do I look like? I look like the guy that's going to go fix your pipes or whatever,
No,
or go mow your yard. Rasul does a nice job at corner. He played a little bit of safety last year because of need, but corner's his position, and you know, it's not really, unless it's a necessity, it's probably not a move where we want to take him out of a natural spot for him and put him at safety.
Looks like this is not really a safety's question, but it looks like, you know, you finally got your cornerbacks back almost. You know, Craven's
close.
But you get your full complement. I mean, you know, guys are just coming back for the first time last week and the week before. What does that do for the secondary? And,
I mean, just attitude-wise, just having the guys back on the field and out there competing and getting back into their rhythm because they know each other inside and out. You can go all the way back to the middle of last year where we're just kind of fitting pieces in where we can and just trying to get by and to get these guys back that are veterans and have played a whole bunch of football and played a bunch of football together. It's kind of fun to watch. And I think they feed off each other for another thing. I mean, energy and attitude's a big part of football, and having all the guys in the room back is a big part of that.
Back when you came into the league, Tim, the safety and corner positions were pretty clearly defined.
Yeah.
Is it amazing, remarkable to you to see what's happened and the cross-training that goes on and the fact that you've got the guys you've got that can play all over the place?
Yeah, it really is. The game of football's changed a whole bunch. And now the safeties don't need to be the big physical thumpers that are going to intimidate because that's against the rules nowadays. So they've got to be able to cover. They've got to be able to line up in a lot of different spots. Same with the corners. If they can go inside and outside, and with your roster limitations, it's just a huge benefit when they can play different spots.
Do you think you'd be a linebacker if you played today?
I wish I could, but I don't think so. my size and stature probably limits me a little bit right there. So, no.
Is it still possible to win consistently running the ball?
I think so. One of the things that I look at the defenses and how they tackle. You know, you got a lot of big hitters in this game, but not a lot of good tacklers. So I tell my running backs all the time, you know, either they're cutting your knees from up under you, or they're trying to hit you. They're not really trying to form tackle. So I think that running the ball definitely has its place. And you see, as far as the Eagles, as of late, we've been doing a pretty good job at it. And just got to stick with it. It opens everything else up.
Duce, a lot of teams go with like 6, 7 defensive backs. I mean, how much does that help the running game, especially with you guys?
Well, I think you just said it there. Defensive backs, they don't want no part of the box. So if you can kind of trap those guys in there and, you know, you get some of those yellow blocks, some of those B blocks coming off and you're hitting a DB who weighs 180, 200 at the most, instead of somebody who's 6'2", 6'3", 250. So I'm pretty sure they won't be in dime long.
Is the 12 personnel you guys have been using a lot creating that dilemma for defenses? I mean, when they bring out a nickel, you guys can run on.
Yeah, I think it's hard because we get out there in 12, you got 2 great pass receivers also, in Goddard and Ertz. Also, you got Jordan back there that can run the ball. Then you got Miles who can come out of the backfield, sprinkle in a little bit of the other backs and other receivers. I think we got a good package going. So just got to continue to work on it and continue to get better at it.
This team has such a history of running back tandems, some that you were part of. What do they, Jordan and Miles, remind you of as far as, I mean, remind you of you and Buck, or who do they?
I think, honestly, it reminds me of Charlie Gardner and Ricky Waters, the Thunder and Lightning. That's what it reminds me of. Every time I see him out there on the field, you look at Jordan, he's always falling forward. He's always going to get the extra yard. And what I see on film, and as a running back coach, what we take pride in, if nothing's there, getting back to the line of scrimmage, that's very important. So it's hard to call plays for 2nd and 13. But if it's 2nd and 10, it's a little easier. It may sound weird, but that's how we look at it as play callers.
How much do you pay attention to and in the self-scouting process, the way that you use the 2 guys when they're on the field? So, you know, is it more likely that we're going to pass when Miles is on the field, and how aware the opposing defense will be?
I think, you know, it's a game of chess. That's what it is, especially with these coordinators today. You got some good coordinators that want to take away some of your best players, and they do a good job at it. But I look at it a little differently because if we're out there and you're looking at the self-scout and it says this guy's on the field this many times or whatever and he's doing this or doing that, I say we continue to do that and add more. So I'm not the one to stay away from it. I'm the one to add to it. A bunch of balls and you're able to break tackles and run good routes. So now it's up to the defense. Okay, do we want to play a backer on this guy? Do we want to put a nickel on this guy? How do we want to cover this guy? Along with Ertz, along with Goddard, along with everybody else. So I think it's a little dilemma for him. We just got to make sure we try to get them matched up in the perfect matchup for us and take advantage of it.
Have you guys had to be more creative or found, I guess, different ways to use them? Because it seems you haven't had a back like that in a few years.
Well, I just think you continue to do the same thing over and over again. You may juice it up a little bit with a little motion. You may juice it up a little bit with a little formation. But I think you continue to do it over and over again. Your quarterback, get used to it a little bit. He'll get better at it. Your running backs will get better at it. You just find more ways of doing the same thing, no matter if it's motion or no matter if it's formation.